When creating queries, it's really important to understand the concept of inner and outer joins. What I want to do is return to the query that we created earlier. But when I look at my navigation pane, all I'm seeing are tables. So what I want to do is hit this little drop down here and ask it to show me not just tables, but all access objects by object type. So I choose all access objects, and now I can see my query. If I then right click my query and go into design view, I can see that when I look at the relationship between these two tables, there's a little arrow. And that is because the find unmatched has changed the join from the default to a special type of join. I'm going to double click the line and it brings up this, and these are the join properties. By default, whenever you create a query, it is number 1. It only includes rows where there is a join equal in both tables. But because we're finding unmatched, what it's done is given a little arrowhead, and it's including all the records from campaign and only those records from pledges where the join is equal. So that's how come we only get the one record. Let's have a look at this in more detail. I'm going to close this query and let's create a new query. If I go to the Create tab in my ribbon and I go to Query Design, let's say I want to add some tables. I might add contributors, and I'll add that. I'll add pledges, add that. And I'll add campaign and add that. Now if you accidentally add campaign twice, you end up with campaign _1. _1 tells me that that table's already been added. And so if we wish to remove that table, I'll just close the Show Table window, I'll click on the table, and I'll press the Delete key. And that just removes any extra tables in your queries. Now let's just say I want to see the name of the donor, the date that they pledged some money, and the campaign name that they pledged to. Now when I view that by hitting the view bar to the far left of my ribbon, here are a list of the names of the donors and the dates that they made pledges to these particular campaigns. But I know that there's a campaign there that doesn't have a pledge against it, and I'd like to see all campaigns, whether they've had pledges or not. So this is where we change the join. If I go back to the design view of the query, I'm going to double click the line between two tables. And I'm going to ask it to include all the records from the campaign table and only those from pledges where they're equal. So I'll choose number 2 and OK. I need to carry this join through, so I'm going to double click this relationship and change this to a number 3 and OK. So my arrows are all now pointing to the left, and if I view my result, I now get all campaigns whether they've had a pledge or not, and sometimes that's desirable in a query, so that's why joins are really important. If I go back to design, I can double click each line and put it back to the default, which is only where there's a match between the tables. And view the results. And there's my 25, but I don't see the campaigns that have had no pledges against them. So I'll just close this query and save it.